Hi, and welcome to the Premier Power Hour podcast. I'm Zach.
I'm Billy.
We have a guest today, and if you recognize him, it's because we've had him on before. His name...
Ryan Benningfield.
Just cut it
Have
to
you
you.
all met?
We just met, and
So
I
Zach,
got
Ryan,
it right. But
Ryan, Zach.
yeah, Ryan, nice to meet you.
Yeah, so we're trying to get as much bang for our buck as possible with these folks, and you're a very busy man. So while we've got you, we thought we'd pick your brain a little bit about some of your, the expertise you bring to
Absolutely. Never too busy for you, Billy.
corrugated table. What do we got? We're going to talk a little bit about distribution and freight.
Well,
today, right?
freight is such a huge, hot topic. It's always been one for you. That's your job. But now with so many people moving to e-commerce, with the pandemic, and more people are shipping out and having to deal with these issues of freight and distribution channels where you haven't had to deal with it before. Maybe you were brick and mortar. Now because of COVID, you've switched to e-commerce fully. It's a conversation that I know for me in sales, I have every day with my customers. And so can you talk a little bit about, obviously distribution affects the customer in that if they don't get their goods, they don't get their goods, whatever it is. But what does your involvement look like here at Premier as it relates to distribution channels? And what are a couple things that you see in the industry that are going well and things that are going wrong?
All right. So my involvement with it has to do with overseeing the distribution centers across the country. I have a counterpart named John Packwood that oversees half of them. I oversee the other half. And what our job is to make sure that we're fulfilling the orders for the customers and getting them there when they need it. And part of that is freight and distribution.
Got it. So
the pandemic has caused all kinds of changes in the industry.
Sure.
Currently, what we've seen is just a crazy demand on the trucking world.
Okay.
So 2019, one of the metrics they use for measuring freight and its capacity is the number of loads per available truck.
Okay.
So 2019, you were seeing about 2.5 loads per truck available, which means it's a fairly balanced market. We'll fast forward now to 2021, and you're looking at almost 6 loads per available truck.
Wow.
Yeah, so major increases in the market, right? So what that means for Premier is it's harder to get trucks, and when you do get them, they're more expensive.
Right.
So year over year, March of last year to March of this year, we're seeing a cost increase of 42%.
Wow.
Yeah, for the same lanes we were getting before.
Wow.
So for us, that's turning into more expensive products for our customer, right?
Sure.
So the landed cost of this box they were getting before now is having to either increase or it's cutting into what Premier has in it.
Sure. And this isn't, it's important to know, this isn't just Premier. This is all across the industry. This is everybody that's encountering this. So it sounds like, the truck is all about really cube.
It's all about utilization.
Utilization, exactly that. And the cube isn't getting any bigger. We're just having to fit more products.
That's exactly right. So, the ways to combat that is maxing out your trucks, fully utilizing them, and then trying to prepare better on, what sort of frequency and what sort of response time do you have from the customer to say, here's my order, and us get that truck booked sooner than later so we can have more time to plan, which usually relates to a cheaper cost.
Yep.
Shorter the lead time on the truck, you're paying a premium for that.
For sure. If so, I'm out in Phoenix. I'm a salesperson out there, and so I'm a supply chain specialist.
Absolutely.
For my customers, because freight is something that has gone up tremendously. If I'm having a conversation with them and they're asking me, Zach, how do I bring down my freight costs? In your expert opinion, what are some things that people can do to bring down their freight costs?
Good question. It's tough right now. I don't think there's a simple answer to that. Some of the constraints that are driving it are there are a lot of drivers that aren't coming back into the workforce yet because they're still out with fear of COVID-19.
Got it.
There are companies that closed down, smaller companies during that time period, and the larger ones have absorbed these drivers, but due to supply chain shortages, they can't get new trucks from the OEMs to even bring these drivers on board.
Got it.
So I think everybody's familiar with the shortage of microchips from overseas in automobiles and whatnot. The OEMs that are manufacturing the trucks are experiencing the same problems. So we've got people that are willing to work in the market and ease this capacity and constraint issue, but they can't. There's no trucks for them to drive.
There's just a giant bottleneck that's preventing this kind of tension from being released.
Right. So from a customer standpoint, what does all that mean? How can they bring their freight costs down? Get as much as they can on that truck. Plan better, right? When, like I said before, the expediting of shipments, you're paying a premium for. So when they call and say, hey, we're out of this, we need it ASAP. Well, that ASAP comes with a cost.
Sure.
Avoid
that last minute.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And I understand that a lot of our customers are in that JIT mindset of the just-in-time deliveries. They don't want to take up floor space with items they're not selling and making money on, right?
Trying to be lean. Yeah.
Trying to be lean, but one way you can get around that is potentially having some overstock on packaging because you fully utilize that truck. That truck has a fixed cost no matter how many pallet spaces you take up.
Yep.
So if you start spreading that cost out over more pallets, then it's going to drive the cost down of each one of those pallets.
For sure. One of the things that I'm thinking of just offhand is this pallet utilization. If you have a product and the way that you're storing it in your pallet is not maximizing the efficiency of the cube, that's an easy conversation for us to have. So maybe that's a box redesign, maybe that's, less dunnage, different conversations like that can be had to actually lower it because, as you said, it's a fixed amount of space. The space is not changing.
That's right.
And if we have a fixed amount of drivers, because we're in this bottleneck, there's no other way around it. You got to figure out how to get it in that cube more efficiently.
Yeah, you bring up a good point with the size of the pallet. You might have a pallet that's 60 inches tall. You're not going to be able to double stack that in a truck. But if you were to shrink the unit count down from 625 to 500, you can now double stack it. And you're going to get 1,000 in place of where you're getting 625.
Yep. Significantly better.
Yep. And it's not just Premier and the truckload that's seeing it also. I think you'll find out a lot of our e-commerce customers have experienced the same thing from the small parcel carriers as well. The FedExes, the UPS, the DHLs, the USPS, they're all fully maxed out. We were seeing during peak season, our customers were getting stuck with their packages to get out because the facilities that they have couldn't handle anymore. They were at max throughput before that Christmas time rush even came.
Probably the first couple, the first time you've ever really seen that kind of failure, I guess, around the holiday season. You know what I mean? It's not that just it could not possibly be done.
It's the first time I've ever seen it.
Yeah.
We had we have some customers that are major players in the e-commerce world, and they were being told no by all of the big providers, and it's hard to believe.
Not a common answer for them.
Right.
Yeah. When have you ever heard of somebody saying, "No, I don't want any more business. We can't handle it."
100%.
Right?
Yeah.
So I mean, it's what kind of problem is that?
Yeah. How long are they saying, or what do you foresee in terms of this tightness lasting?
Everything I've read and what I've heard through some different webinars and whatnot has been 2021 is going to remain like this.
Yeah.
And they're hoping by the end of the first quarter of 2022, there will start to be some relief.
Some light at the end of the tunnel.
That's what they're hoping for.
And so what are the key things that we're looking for? I mean, you kind of touched on it, but what are the first couple key things that are going to fall that are going to allow for that relief?
I think the supply chain issues as far as equipment goes, that's one. The unemployment has been a big deal.
For sure.
It seems like everybody is hiring.
Yeah.
But it doesn't seem like they're getting the bodies in there all the time.
Right.
I think you've got to start getting the new people in there, and I don't know if it's people have been laid off and they're waiting for their old job to come back and hoping that's the case, and they haven't switched over in industry to something else. But the only way you're going to up throughput is by getting more people in there.
Yep.
So that's a huge key.
Is there any role that automation plays in this? I know we're talking about getting more people and getting more bodies, but I'm just thinking about if a company is out there and they've been hit hard from the pandemic and they're looking for that light at the end of the tunnel, that's supposedly we're trending for first quarter of 2022, is there a role that automation plays in it that you've seen that could help a customer that's maybe a little bit smaller, that doesn't have the ability to? Labor is the number one cost in any organization.
Oh yeah.
Anything that you've seen that has worked?
Unfortunately, I feel like a lot of the automation comes at cost. It's usually high capital.
Okay.
And it has a tendency to have a longer ROI, it seems like.
Mm-hmm.
I know from the standpoint of warehousing and even in the fulfillment centers, the automation part goes into conveyors, sort systems, autonomous picking and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
And you're talking about heavy capital initially. So, man, it's hard to say.
It's kind of pick your poison, basically, is what you're saying. Yeah.
It's kind of hard to say, like, what's the cheap alternative to do automation, right? You would hope that some of it would be for people like yourself or other supply chain specialists to get in and offer solutions with, case sealers or packaging that's going to condense from multiple SKUs down to one multi-depth box or something like that, or go from multiple boxes to one size poly mailer, things like that. I mean, and then you start taking all of that out of it to where it's, one single solution or a few solutions for multiples.
Yeah, absolutely.
Good idea.
These are all great thoughts. This is super helpful for me because I'm going to go fly out of here, this beautiful city of Louisville, which my wife's already looking at houses.
Nice.
And go back to Phoenix and have an educated conversation with people I haven't had this in-depth understanding of the supply chain. So I'm very thankful for this because this is super helpful.
You're still doing the realty? You could get with his wife.
Yeah, absolutely.
Is that a side gig?
Yeah.
She found a house last night. She goes, "It's perfect." And I said, "Sweetheart, we bought a house just 6 months ago." And she goes, "I don't know what the problem is." And I said, "Okay, great. Let's just empty that 401k. I think that's
hook her up with my wife. She can take care of her.
Is your wife a realtor?
Yes.
Well, we'll have an offline conversation.
That's right.
Absolutely.
All right.
Yeah,
so
you did this on purpose.
Yeah, my bad. This is a problem that is not going away, but we're doing everything we can to better it.
We're doing everything we can to better it, but I think one thing that separates Premier from others is our distribution network.
Yep.
I mean, in most places, whether it's a Premier warehouse or it's one of our 3PL partners, we're not that far away from a customer.
Right.
Nope.
So by doing that, we're cutting out on a lot of that, what you refer to as like spot market freight, when you're having to go out and get that over-the-road truck come in. Yes, freight costs are up, but not as much for the local cartage as it is the over-the-road market. So, if you're shipping from a 3PL, our team does a great job getting costs negotiated on that are that are in line with what they should be, or our own fleet. At all of our warehouses, we're operating our own fleet that gives us cost savings, but also gives us the ability to be more dynamic, more flexible, bail these customers out or help them out when they call with an issue. And I think during the pandemic, we've seen a lot of doors open for customers that were let down by their current suppliers.
Right.
And we were able to help them out, because of our network and the size of it.
I can absolutely speak to that. I got hired in August, I'd say, of last year, and where the job that I had in sales was a lot of cold calling, and a lot of this kind of sales stuff in this industry is really relationship based selling. But I can say that in just a few cold calls to some very large clients, I've been able to get in the door for that reason alone, that they have been let down by their provider, which has only a few resources at the ready. And Premier has an entire army, it seems like, of 3PLs or where we're manufacturing, where we're able to distribute from all over. And these are companies that are nationwide, and they're having these issues, and they're saying, why can I only get it from this one source or these two sources? And so here at Premier, I can absolutely speak to, we've been able to quote stuff and say, well, this is closer, but this is actually better just because of our distribution channels, the way that we've set stuff up that allows for wins that other people don't have.
We've got a lot of dots on the map.
We do.
We sure do.
We're not operating from the mindset of just having 2 or 3 mega sites. I mean, it's all over to where we can, get it there in a timely fashion without having to pay out the nose for these freight costs and whatnot.
It makes me want. When you asked me the other day about childhood dream, it should have been like a long haul trucker, because now's the time. If you could get a rig, now would be the time.
Oh yeah,
to be a trucker.
You're making the money nowadays.
Yeah. So
I mean, it's never too late.
No,
I think Billy on the Road is a great segment that we could run.
Sure.
Would it still be Billy or would it be Willie? What would you go by?
Yeah, I'd probably change my name.
Probably Billion.
Probably something like that.
Yeah.
Or it'd be Bill. I'd be Bill.
Bill.
The trucker.
Yeah.
With a specific voice, right?
Is there a reason the voice changes when you act like a truck driver?
Yeah.
It always
He's
changes.
got a shtick.
Changes.
He's got a persona in whatever he's doing.
Absolutely.
This was very organic. We didn't even know we were doing this, and here we go, talking about freight. Thank you for
absolutely
helping us out.
This has been truly,
for sure.
I think there's a lot of people that are going to be really helped out by this because I think there's a lot of people out there that just don't understand why what I did before is it so much more expensive.
It's triple the price.
Doesn't make sense why that's the case.
Yep, it's not because somebody's not doing their job or not out there shopping for the best rates.
Right.
I mean, it's everywhere.
There's not a conspiracy theory. We all just got in. The 5 families got together and said, you know what, we're going to quadruple our prices.
That's exactly right. When somebody from one of the DCs says, hey, here's your freight costs, they're not getting a check on the side
right.
and making more.
Yeah, nobody's palms are greased on this.
That's right. Yeah, the basketball tickets are always nice, but just kidding. There's no fringe benefits, I promise.
just the satisfaction of a job well done.
Absolutely.
Last time I did not have the box for our little segment. This time we do.
Private investigation was done, and it was noted that he did it on purpose.
We found the box.
This is our box. It's our
Okay.
segment, What's in the Box here. It's a nice, I think 32 ECT. It feels like 32 ECT.
He's got the feel.
Yeah, I got it. I'm figuring it out. I'm trying to stay employed. All right,
Sure
we
about
have a
myself,
choice.
but-
We have a choice. We can go a couple different ways with this.
Okay.
We got an icebreaker question. We have a dad joke. We got a fun fact. And so you're the guest.
There's
You
a
were
lot
not
in that
allowed
box.
This opportunity before. I'll let you choose.
So one of those 3.
One of those 3. If we're feeling good and we got time, we can do 2 of them.
Oh, we're out of time.
Okay.
A dad joke, fun fact, or
an icebreaker. Do you have a?
Oh, wow. I don't know if I have any of those.
You're newly a dad.
I am
maybe
newly
we
a
should-
dad.
Well, newly a dad. Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
We should do
Thank
the
you. I haven't
dad
got my dad jokes. Up
Well,
to
here we
par
go.
yet,
Here we
right?
go. We got a couple. We'll rapid fire on a couple of these. Why do melons have weddings?
I don't know.
Well, they can't elope.
That's pretty good.
You like that?
I like
Yeah.
that one. I will keep that one.
Yeah. Why did the Invisible Man turn down the job offer?
Don't know.
You know what, man? He just couldn't see himself doing it. Ladies and gentlemen, if you're hearing that,
I'm just
ladies
laughing
and
at
gentlemen,
him
if you're
laughing.
hearing that is Billy
I'm just
Watkins
no,
laughing
I'm
at a dad
laughing.
joke.
I'm laughing
We did
at
the segment one time.
Ryan
and it
laughing.
was perfect. It was just, and that's all I got. And that's all we got. This is all
Yeah,
the
I
time
think
we
we're-
have. Thank
we're
you so
about
much.
done.
This
Thank
has
you
been
all.
super informative. I think it's going to be something that really helps a lot of people.
Good
That's
talk, Ryan.
Absolutely,
Good
Billy.
talk.
That's all the time we have. Thanks for tuning in. I'll see you next time.
Do you have comments, questions, or ideas about this topic? If so, we'd like to hear from you. Please visit crimpack.com/podcast to let us know what you think. Thanks.